all our lives
Well,
today, and that's why you're being
making an
cited.
assumption that I was texting when I'm using voice to
Well,
talk.
man, you can go to court on the
Oh, you get to see me
19th,
again, yes.
9
you do.
o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
and
are
I
you
would
gonna
love
be
to
there?
play this for the judge. This would be absolutely outstanding. This would be entertaining for the judge.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to true crime, most people think of gritty murders and forensic investigations, not angry middle-aged women in parking lots. But these are still true stories about real crimes. Today, we're covering 3 caught-on-camera showdowns between Karens and cops. Number 1. Karen chases down the cops. This arrest was broadcast on a news segment called People Behaving Badly, hosted by reporter Stanley Roberts. Today, he's riding along with an officer when she pulls over a woman who's been caught speeding, and the Karen energy comes to the surface right away.
Hi, ma'am. Do you have your driver's license, registration?
I do. I wasn't speeding. I don't want to be filmed.
Well, you're in public, ma'am. I don't need your permission. As an American citizen.
I do need you Jews too need my permission to film me.
So you're an attorney?
No, but I have a friend who is.
Okay.
Most people try to avoid any further encounters with police, but not this Karen. She comes back not once, but twice, following the cops and even stopping in the middle of a moving lane to argue about her ticket. The woman doesn't realize that the newest target for her complaints is the officer who actually clocked her speeding, but she still tries to tell him he's wrong and that she was actually going below the speed limit.
I wasn't speeding.
Okay,
So-
can I see your ticket? You were very, very close to me when I took that speed reading.
It's a 40. I don't think that's true.
Thanks for wasting everyone's time, Karen.
So you mean to tell me that Grandma Karen and fucking goddamn got a ticket and then tried to pull the officer over for giving her a ticket? So I wonder if we can do that. It means she got mad at my man for recording when technically in public you can have your camera any given time that you want to because it's public, baby. So Grandma Karen, you need to cut
Everyone's
it.
time, Karen. Number 2. Traffic conductor Karen. On July 3rd, 2017, police get a call about a person obstructing a road and jumping on cars in Long Beach. When the responding officer arrives, he finds a young woman waving her arms and yelling at cars.
Open this back door! Open this back door, bitch! Open this back door! What is on my little boy?
The officer tries to calm her down and give her verbal instructions, but the young Karen won't be tamed. In fact, she tries to start boxing him.
Wait with me! What's up? What's up? What's going on, bitch?
Finally, the officer is able to get her onto the ground, and backup arrives to take her away. She's given a felony charge for resisting an officer, and she ends up pleading not guilty, despite all of the evidence being right there on camera. Number 3.
God diggity dang. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry about that. Anyway, I thought this was Blueface girl. What's her name? Kristen Rock? Krishan. I'm sorry. You know, Krishan. Or something like that. That's who I thought that was. But anyway, who in the hell is she? She is so lucky she did not get hit or get her feet ran over by those cars. Definitely that little silver truck. Now, it looked like a Nissan Frontier to me when that was going by. Well, I really couldn't get the description of it. But anyway, the story was, why was she acting so crazy and irate over some, who knows why, what, and when she was, you know what I'm saying, on something. But anyway, she was trying to attack the police officer, and the police officer wasn't even trying to hit her, which, you know, nowadays, that's really good.
Camera. Number 3. Texting Karen freaks out. In September 2020, the Columbus Police Department published this body cam footage on their YouTube page. It starts when an officer walks up to a young Karen in the middle of texting behind the wheel.
I'm watching you drive all the way up the street with your head buried in the phone. All the way up the street.
No, it was not.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull you over. I have it on my camera.
Do you really have nothing else better to do?
She called me a douchebag.
After she moves her car, the cop notices a child in the back seat.
You're willing to text with your daughter in the back seat.
Dude, I'm not texting.
For the entire conversation, the woman seems to make every effort to be as unpleasant and confrontational as possible.
Butterfingers. Making us all unsafe on the road.
Didn't say
No,
unwilling.
don't do that in my car, please. Excuse me, that's my property.
Ma'am, you can go to court on the
Oh, you get to see me
19th,
again, yes. you
9
do.
o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
and
are
I
you
would
gonna
love
be
to
there?
play this for the judge.
And by the end of it, the police officer is obviously running low on patience.
Your Honor, I'm a douchebag.
Nah, she know dang well she gotta be ashamed of herself. If she had her face buried in her phone the whole time, and she got a baby in the back. Now, what type of mom is that? You could easily rear in somebody, you know what I'm saying? Well, if that big ass bus was to stop, next thing you know, you rear ended somebody, airbags go off, your daughter in the back, you know. And this officer got footage of you buried, like he said, down like this, all in your camera, all in your phone. I meant to say, texting, not even paying attention. And was she driving a Tesla or something? That's why she got her head buried in the phone. And we seen some Teslas. They've been known to autopilot and pilot themselves in the rear end of somebody's car because somebody want to take a nap, texting while driving, you know what I'm saying, all this other unnecessary stuff instead of being responsible and keeping your eye on the road.
My wife had an accident. She's still breathing.
What kind of accident?
Still downstairs. She's still breathing. Please come.
911 dispatchers have had their share of crazy calls, but things get even weirder when the caller is a criminal. Here are 3 of the craziest 911 calls that criminals made. Number 3. Trepierre Hummins. While most people who call 911 are either victims or witnesses, 21-year-old Trepierre Hummins was neither. In the early morning of June 19, 2015, Hummins called 911 not once, but twice, pretending to be a concerned witness who saw a man with a gun.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like he was walking around being belligerent with a gun.
Okay, you saw a gun?
Yes.
He then gave descriptions of the gunman. A few minutes after the call, a 48-year-old police officer named Sonny Kim arrived at the location and was fatally shot by none other than Hummins himself. A second officer arrived and Hummins shot him too. He then used Kim's gun to shoot a third officer named Tom Sandman, who managed to shoot him back. Both Hummins and Kim died later the same day. Before calling 911, Hummins had posted cryptic goodbye messages on Facebook. He had also sent a few people text messages about his plan to commit suicide by cop. Number 2.
Now, excuse me. Excuse me. Now, I was super young, you know what I'm saying, when this guy did this, super young. So I don't even know nothing about this story for the simple fact. I find that quite alarming how these type of guys calling 911 playing like they seen something crazy going on and out here doing devilish act. He ain't killed 3 police officers, but it's a good thing that last guy was able to get a fatal shot off because he was on the mission of destruction and to hurt so many people as much as he can. And just to have those cryptic message about suicide by cop, that's just saying that you was willing to hurt whoever you can just because you was going through a mental health episode. And it's sad that nobody reached out to get him help.
Number 2. Michael Peterson. Michael Peterson married his wife Kathleen in 1997, but his life changed completely in December 2001 when he found her unconscious at the bottom of their staircase.
My wife had an accident. She's still breathing.
What kind of accident?
Still downstairs. She's still breathing. Please come.
Is she conscious?
What?
Is she conscious?
No, she's not conscious.
Kathleen died from blood loss after sustaining injuries including 7 lacerations to the head, scrapes and bruises on her face, and a crushed thyroid. The amount of blood at the scene was alarming. And strangely, Kathleen wasn't the only woman in Michael's life to die this way. A family friend named Elizabeth Ratliff had been
Name?
Special Agent Will Trent, Georgia View Investigation.
found bloody at the bottom of her staircase in 1985. Like Kathleen, she had lacerations to her head. And like Kathleen, the last known person to see her alive was Michael Peterson. And it turns out he had a motive for the crime. Although they looked pretty well off from the outside, the couple had more than $142,000 in debt. And Kathleen had a life insurance policy for $1.4 million, with Michael as the beneficiary. In 2003, Michael...
I've never heard of this guy, but he is definitely a Jeffrey Dahmer's repeat. I mean, he drugged 11 men and killed like You know what I'm saying? 3 to 7 guys. Jeffrey Dahmer's repeat. And then for him to call and play like he was just an innocent bystander that witnessed this or that, whatever. Like, come on, man. I mean, come on. This is the type of people we live with in this world, y'all. So it's like, you know, nowadays, even though you want to do good, sometimes it make you wonder if you should. Like, it was a crazy situation I was in of doing good. In the long run, I was the one who got hurt and damaged out of it just for doing something good. Not saying that I would have done anything different because it's in the kindness of my heart. I just feel like, man, why did I have to go and get those damages just for being a nice person?
In 2003, Michael was convicted for his wife's murder. Number 1. Stephen Port. It's common for guilty 911 callers to try to get as far away from their victim as possible, and that's exactly what serial rapist and killer Stephen Port did. Port used gay dating apps and websites to lure in his victims. Between 2012 and 2015, the so-called Grindr killer drugged 11 young men and murdered 4 of them. His first murder victim was 23-year-old Anthony Walgate, a fashion student who occasionally worked as an escort. Port hired him for a night at his apartment. After giving him a fatal dose of GHB and assaulting him, Port placed Walgate's body outside his apartment and called 999 anonymously.
Looks like you collapsed or had a seizure or something. Just always just drunk. But, yeah.
Were you passing by in your car?
Yes.
Okay, you've drove past now, you're no longer there.
That's right.
After Walgate's murder, Port killed 3 more young men the same way.
Oh, this guy is real pathetic and sad that a couple women have to, you know what I'm saying, lose their life before they was able to catch on to what this scumbag was doing now. I definitely wasn't alive when he was doing this shit, so this is another crazy situation of how he called the police playing like, you know what I'm saying, he witnessed or know this and that happened, or he came there and seen a very crazy scene of the women he was dating, you know what I'm saying, the way they were. Come on now. Whoever's investigating him, hey, they did a great job because he wasn't able to keep this same act on to other women.